It is the day we have been waiting for. It's been a long time coming, really. The 27th of March 2026 is here, and the biggest conversation around AI and automation is about to get started. We're not going to waste time at all. We are super pumped. I am super pumped about everything we're going to be learning today. My name is Vivian Collins Doka, and I'm going to be your host, but I will not be doing this alone. I have with me, of course, my colleagues, but I have, of course, my co-host as well. She's going to introduce herself briefly. But before I get to allow her to introduce herself, please, if there's somebody you know who should be here, go ahead and send them the meeting invite so that they can join because we're going to be starting right about now. So, Sin, let them hear your beautiful voice.
Hi, everybody. Please confirm.
Tosin, I can hear you. You can go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon or good evening. My name is Tosin Omotayo, and I'm the product marketer and community manager for Flowmono. So many of you must have seen me in your mail, at least virtually. So this is like putting a face to it. I'm so excited that we are starting this today because we've been planning this for months now. So it's surreal being in this room right now. So I just want to welcome everybody. This promises to be very exciting. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn about automation. You're going to learn about AI as well. So along the line, we'll definitely speak more. So yeah, that's one. Thank you, Fabian.
Guys, thank you once again, Tosin. Confirm that you can see my screen, guys, please. Can you see my screen? All right, awesome. So the conversation today is going to be around how top teams are staying ahead with AI and automation. You're in the right room if you've ever wished work could run itself, even just a little. So we're absolutely glad that you made it here. Before we go ahead to do introductions, because I really want to hear from you as well. I mean, we're excited that you guys even registered. I think as of this evening, almost 200 people, I think 184 if I'm not mistaken, registered, and we're still expecting a lot more people to join. So, please, if you could just drop the link to this on the chat so that people could just copy and paste on their WhatsApp statuses. Invite your friends, invite your enemies, invite your frenemies. Tell them that it is happening today. The biggest conversation around AI and automation in Africa is happening live here today. There's so much I promise you're going to learn. Somebody once said that a good book is one which you read, drop, and then start thinking for yourself. And so, in the same vein, a good conference or a good webinar is one which you attend, pause, and start thinking for yourself. So it is my dream, it is our goal that by the end of this webinar, you'll be able to pick at least one thing you'd start doing from today, one thing you start using AI to do, and one process at the very least you start automating for your team or for your company today as well. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome. You're exactly where you need to be. Today is about more than technology. It's about the decisions that will separate your team from the competition starting right now. So we'll gain clarity on what automation really is. We'll also get to explore the framework to identify your first automation targets. We'll also we'll take a honest look at what AI disruption means for your team, and we'll also get to, most importantly, explore practical steps you can act on before next week. So it's a power-packed session. We're going to look at the agenda we have for today. But before that, I want to see those that are here. Who is excited to learn about AI? Who is excited? Who is excited to learn about AI? If you are, I want you to react. I want to see your reactions. The love emoji, or however you're going to react, or you can drop it in the chat box so I can see that you're excited. All right, Ugochuki is clapping. Awesome. I want the chat box to be really active today, so you can always be typing there so I can know that you're here. Our speakers are in the room and they are ready for us. Again, if there's somebody you expect to be here, I think we have 26 people here so far. If there's somebody you expect to begin, please send them the link so they can join in. More people are joining. Welcome, guys. Welcome. So we'll take introductions now. Again, you've met me, you've met my co-host. My name is Fabian Collins, who's just joining. I will be your host for today. Ugochukwu says super ready and excited. I think we have a gift for the most active participant. And so far so good. Ugochukwu is leading. Ugochukwu, hold on, keep it up. Don't let the bar drop. So guys, for you to get access to everything we have planned, we want you to be really, really engaging. This is going to be interactive. This is going to be also life changing. So you don't want to miss out at all. You don't want to miss out at all. So introductions, if you want to introduce yourself, you want to tell us your name, what you do, you can just raise your hand and we would ask you to speak. We have about 4 more minutes to do that. We have about 4 more minutes to do that. Or if you want to drop it in the chat box, you can do it as well. So tell us your name, tell us what you do, and tell us how you first heard of this webinar. Your name, what you do, and how you first heard of this webinar. Go right ahead. If you want to speak, please raise your hand and I'll allow you. Listen, guys, don't let me be the one speaking here alone now. We are young people, we are vibrant people. This is the AI era. Okay, so who wants to go first? Who wants to go first? Have I not seen any hands? Who wants to go first? Okay, Nana has raised his hand. Let me see. Nana, please go right ahead. Unmute your mic and let's hear you.
All right, good evening, everyone. So my name is Nana Melawa. I'm an IT project assistant, and also I do a bit of AI automation as well using Make. So I came across this post on LinkedIn and I saw that, oh, okay, it's related to my field. So why not? Let me get more insight from other professionals. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. To see, these are the kind of things I like to hear. You just see something that relates with what you do, and then you jump right on board. That's the true hallmark of a professional who is looking to learn, who is looking to grow, who is looking to improve. Because the day you stop learning, then of course you start. I see Ugochukwu. Ugochukwu is raised. Ugochukwu, go ahead. Unmute your mic and speak.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So, I am a data analyst, and lately I was doing a program on Google Data Analytics professional certificate. So, I was on this particular topic about AI, how to use AI to do some disruptive things. And recently, I was just scrolling through my WhatsApp status, and I saw one of my friends post this, and I was like, wow, this aligns with what I'm doing. So I decided to join, and I'm excited to learn what it's all about automation. Anyway, I've learned about automation before, and I want to learn better. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Again, the things I like to hear. So we have somebody who joined from LinkedIn. We also have somebody who joined from WhatsApp. We try to spread the word everywhere because we know that what we are cooking today, what we are ready to serve to you today is something valuable, something that we hope you'd be able to take home with you and continue to apply to your life. So it's a pleasure to have you on board, Ugochukwu. So we have 1 more minute. Any other person who wants to introduce himself or herself? Anybody who wants to go next? One more person. Who's going to be the lucky person? Let's get to meet you. Let's get to meet you. Let's get to meet you, guys. Like I said, we're all young people here. And more than that, we want to learn. We want to get to learn about what AI and automation really is. And when you're able to, get it early on, then it sets everything apart. So who wants to go next? Who wants to go next? Okay, I think somebody wants to speak. Julius, do you want to speak? Okay. All right, all right. Well, welcome everybody. So far, so good. We have about 40 people here in the room. Again, if you want to, if there's somebody you believe should be here, the link to this session is on the chat box. You can just copy it, paste it on your WhatsApp status, and have them join us as we are about to begin. Okay, so let's run through the agenda real quick. So first of all, the welcome address, then introduction. I mean, we've had some people introduce themselves. Then we'll take the AI creed. This is such an amazing creed. We have the Catholics have their creed. We also have the Assassin's Creed for people that have seen the movie. But here we have the AI creed, and I'm looking forward to going over this with you guys. Then we'll also get to have a session where we explore Flowmono. You've been hearing about Flowmono. You've been wondering what it is. This session is basically going to answer those questions that you may have. And then we'll have the first session. Our first speaker will come on board and give us insights on her automation journey, and of course explore the topic she's been given. Her name is Deborah. Then we'll have an icebreaker session where we'll get to gauge what you learned. Then we would take on the second speaker. Then we'll probably have the live demo before the Q&A session because we want to be able to take on your questions and everything. Then we'll share the resource we have with you. Then we would go. So if possible, we would close before 6 p.m. because we know some of you are, commuting, you're in the office, so you have to leave early. But if we can't, 6 p.m., I promise you, is the time we will not go beyond 6 p.m. That's what I mean. Thank you so very much. All right. So let's take the AI creed. But before then, I want to talk about something. Before you talk about AI, there's one word associated with AI, and that word is disruption. Right? AI, as we know it, has changed a lot of things. It is disruption because we were not prepared for most of these things, right? And if you're on Twitter, you will notice that almost every 2 hours, almost every 4 hours, there is an update. Claude is constantly changing features, constantly dropping new updates. Anthropic's AI as well is releasing things that if you probably stayed away for 1 month, you come back shocked at the speed at which it has changed. That's the speed at which AI, has taken over most of the things we do nowadays. So let us go over our creed. I want you guys to repeat this after me. I wish you could all unmute your mics and say it, but to avoid the noise and everything. So wherever you are, I want you to recite this after me. So I'm going to start now. Place your right hand on your chest. Place your right hand on your chest. Are you doing that? Are you doing that? Okay, my people in the room are doing that, so I'm guessing that you're going to be doing that as well. AI is not here for my job. So I want you to say it, and I want you to mean what you're saying because this is the AI code, this is the AI era. So AI is not here for my job. It is here for my excuses. AI will not replace me. So there is no need to fear. AI is a necessary advancement of the future. And because it is here to stay, I will learn, I will adapt, I will lead. I will not wait to be disrupted. I will be the disruption. Let's say that again. I will not wait to be disrupted. I will be the disruption. I will not watch the future happen. I will build it. This is not the end of human potential. This is its next chapter. And I, put your name there, and I, Vivian Collins, am in it. Put your name there, and I, Vivian Collins, am in it. This is the AI era, and I am ready. Woo, guys, amazing, amazing, amazing. If you said that, I promise you it is a life changer. We will share this screen with everyone who participates so that you can, say this because the more you say this, the more it engages with your mind, the more opened up you'd be to the world of AI. Again, without further ado, I'm just going to move on to the next thing, which is the introduction to Flowmono. So to take this session is my co-host, Oluwatosin Omotaya. Tosin, the floor is yours. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Vivian. And thank you to everyone who has participated so far, especially those that introduced themselves. So I'm just going to be doing a brief overview of what automation is and also Flowmono automates, because that's why we're here today. But before I do that, right, I would like to acknowledge certain people, special people in our midst, actually, and we call them the flow creators. So the flow creators are part of our community, and they started this journey with us last year. And it's a whole lot for us, because it means that you see the vision and you recognize that there is something that we are building and you're ready to build with us. So we built the community to over 100 plus. And I don't know if you're part of the community here, you can just signify by raising up your hand or sending an emoji or anything, because we just want to recognize you and say a very big thank you for joining us. So flow creators are the members of our community who don't wait for permission to build. So they spot a problem, they map the process, and they launch a workflow. So right now we're a growing community of these people. So you can be operators, innovators, or leaders across industries who want to actually build smarter. And what we felt, or what the vision that we had when we started this community, is that every flow creator, and I mean everybody on that group, will at least have one live workflow automation running. So it doesn't matter your job, doesn't matter what you're doing, but because you're a flow creator, you at least know how to automate and be able to use Flowmono automation to be able to run a workflow process. So this workflow process is going to save your team real hours every single week. I mean, you go to the office and then you see somebody and you're like, oh, this is okay, this is repeatable. Why don't we do it this way? Why don't we do it in a better way? That's the kind of community that we're creating for people that spot problems, people that can map out processes to solve this problem. So at least every flow creator will have one live automation running, and you will learn how to use it. So you're invited to join. I mean, after today, you have everything to become a flow creator yourself. We're going to drop the updates, drop everything on the chat, so you can just join as well if you want to be part of this community, or like I like to call them cool kids, actually. So without further ado, let me just move on to the next. So among these people, right, we have very active people that every time we drop something in the community, you surely or definitely see a message from them. They're always, it's just almost as if they're always on their phone, ready to just answer our questions, ready to, vibe with everybody. And honestly, I'm grateful for them. So this is more like an hall of fame, and we're recognizing these people. So I don't know if you're here. Immediately I call your name, you can just say hi, or you can raise your hand so we can recognize you. So the first person is Steven Nwala, and he's a software engineer. Steven, are you here? Okay, so Steven is not here. The next person we have is Ola Oluwa, I know. Are you here as well? Okay. And then we have Akinwumi, Femi, Simon, Samuel Williams, who is a full stack developer. Simon is a full stack software engineer, and Deborah as well is a graphic designer. So I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for taking the bet on us, and also thank you for engaging the community as a team. And we have like a testimony here, because somebody in the community, right, he joined us, and because that's what we always dropping updates first. Once there's like a job opportunity within the company, we drop it there. And then we have somebody right here that was just on the community and then is with us today, is working at Flowmono today. So this is also part of the benefits that you tend to get once you're in the community. So I don't know if Patrick is here, so you can just say hi to everyone. He's working with Flowmono presently. So Patrick, if you're here, just say hi. Patrick, if you're talking, I think you're muted. No, Patrick, we can't hear you.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, apologies, it was network issue. So hello guys, just a little thing to add. I'm happy to be here and I'm glad I put in the work. So you too can be with Flowmono someday if you just put in the work, and trust me, it's an interesting place to be.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Patrick. We're happy that you joined us here. So let's just get right into it, right? Because we are here for one purpose, to understand what Flowmono is, not Flowmono to understand how you can use AI and automation to your best advantage in 2026, right? So I remember somebody sent me a message because I posted on my status, I posted about AI and automation, and then she entered my DM, she said, what's automation? Right? I mean, it's a very genuine question because not everybody knows what automation is, right? But at the same time, it points something to us that most people don't really know what automation is or even how to use AI to their best advantage. And that's why we're holding this today. So I don't know if you've experienced something like this. You do the same task over and over manually every single day. Like you wake up in the morning and it has to be in your routine. It definitely has to be in your routine. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the same thing is happening. For me, right? Every day I have to like call my boss, we take emails together and all of that, send him, oh, this is what you have. That's like a repeatable thing for me. Like I just have to do it every day, right? I mean, if I could automate that, I would automate that because it just means that I have more time to myself to strategize and all of that, right? So if you've also been in this position, then it means that there is something that you can automate. And also data lives in 5 different tools, nothing talks to each other. So you see data in Excel sheets, data in another place, Word document, nothing is really talking to each other or themselves. And that's why automation is there. Then your team is too busy doing admin tasks to focus on actual growth. So the thing is that when you keep on doing repeated things, like things that automation can do, you end up wasting the effort of your team because they could be using that same time to focus on actual growth, to strategize, to think of ways to make your company better. When they're doing admin things that are repeated, when I say admin, I mean things that they do every day, then it just means that you're probably wasting time. So today, we are showing you a better way to do all of this. So what's automation? Let's keep it simple. Automation is basically using technology to handle repetitive tasks without manual effort every single time. That's what it means. The way I'll be shedding more light on this later, so I'm not really going to dwell on it that much so that you can speak on it. But when you think of automation, just think of using tech to handle repetitive tasks. Simple. Anything that is repetitive. Yes, that's what tech is there for. Then in plain English, instead of doing it yourself every time, so if somebody asks you what's automation and you don't really know how to explain, just say, instead of you doing it every time, you set it up once. You see how we're going to do that today. You set it up once and it's just going to run on its own, except if there needs to be tweak or something, it's going to run on its own. So without a human being having to be there every time doing those same processes, it's going to run on its own. So you can think of it like a vending machine. You set the rule once and then it delivers the result that you need. So you've already experienced automation, whether you're an automation expert, engineer, AI, you've experienced it. That's just so I want you to put your mind down and say, oh, automation, these people are talking about something big. No, you've experienced it. For example, when you get a message from your bank, right? Maybe you send money to somebody or somebody sends money to you, credit alert, you get that 200K, 300K. Instantly, you get a receipt in your inbox. That's your mailbox, right? It is not a human being that is typing the mail and sending to you. Something has happened in the background that you are not aware of. And that thing is called automation. So it's just more like a trigger. Once this happens, then this happens, right? So another example to this is CRM auto updates. A lead fills a form, their info appears in the CRM without you having to do any manual entry. Also for onboarding. So when a new user signs up on a platform, you see the day one, they send you a mail, day two, you're getting a mail, day 7, you're getting a mail. All of that is automation. So yes, you have experienced automation. It's just that you're not calling it automation, right? So automation doesn't start with technology. That's one thing I want to debunk here. Automation doesn't start with technology. As long as you are a problem solver, as long as you think in patterns, yes, patterns should be the word. As long as you think in patterns, as long as you can recognize patterns, then you can automate. That's what you need to know. So the question that you should ask yourself, and every leader in this room, I don't know where you're working, if you're a manager or if you are, working under somebody as well, you just need to ask yourself that, what is that particular thing that my team is doing now that we can actually automate, and then it's going to save a lot of stress because we are following the same step every time. Can this thing not just be automated? Once you can ask yourself that question, then you're a problem solver and you can be an automation engineer. So identify the process, define a trigger. Like I said, Deborah is going to run through all of this, so I don't want to spend time. Then why businesses can't ignore automation. First off, it is 10 times faster than human beings. So sometimes it might be that maybe somebody is sick, they couldn't do something, and then it starts the whole process, and then it's not moving. Everything is just on one point. But for automation, your processes can run instantly, like faster, 24/7, no delays at all, right? So at Flowmono, we believe something. We have this thing that we say around in the company that when you join Flowmono, your work should never wait. because Flowmono, your work is flowing. So your work should flow. It should be a process that moves on its own without you having to do everything by yourself every time. So yes, when you automate with tools like Flowmono Automate, right, you can run these processes without any manual or let's say little manual entry. So also 0% human error. It is scalable. You can handle 10 customers. You can handle 10,000 customers in the same workflow, right? Then it allows your team to focus on strategic things. I mean, this is 2026, right? You cannot keep on focusing on things that are wasting your time. So once you've automated those things already, your team can just think of other ways, like a marketing team can think of, oh, this is how we want to make our brand stand out. Oh, this is how we want our revenue. You've created space for all of that thinking, right? And that's why you need to automate. Like you need to start automating. If your company is not automating any processes, you're not using any automation tool, then start speaking to them about automation. Now, imagine all of what we've spoken about in one seamless flow. Meets Flowmono Automate. So Flowmono Automate is a workflow automation for workflow automation platform for seamless business operations. So we designed this tool to empower businesses to create and optimize workflow automation without coding or little coding actually. So you can streamline your approvals, your notification, your task execution, whatever that just removes the stress of you. As you can see here, I have like a description or a pictorial view of how it looks like, which you'll be seeing in real time. So you can use Flowmono Automate to, onboard customers for your procurement, HR process automation, compliance and audit readiness. Also is an AI-powered workflow optimization platform because this is the era of AI, right? So we also need to be in that space. So the benefit of using Flowmono Automate is that you get a no-code workflow builder. You can design and deploy automated processes without technical expertise. Like I said before, you don't need to be a tech-savvy person, but you need to at least have knowledge of the platform you're using, right? Because even WhatsApp is a tech product that you're using. It's a tech team that built WhatsApp, right? But you can use it. The same thing for Flowmono Automate. As long as you just have that knowledge, this is what I need to do. Then you should be able to deploy something. Then also you can integrate it with your existing business tools. And this is something that really stands out for me, right? You can integrate Flowmono Automate and connect it with your tools that you're using currently to provide that unified experience that you need. And also faster task execution. You can eliminate delays and structure everything, improve accuracy and compliance as well. So this AI workflow orchestration for enterprise operations can run different internal processes like procurement approvals, project and operational workflows, compliance processes, cross-department requests, internal and external authorizations, and all of that, even your contracts. So what changes when you start using Flowmono? Your work route automatically. Once you've set it once, then it works. Escalations are also built in the product. Processes don't have to depend on you chasing people. Oh, sign this. Oh, we've not approved this. No, you're not chasing anybody because Flowmono Automate has taken that stress off you. Then approvals move without friction. So execution shifts from manual coordination to just one simple driven flow. So what top BFSIs are automating first? And when I mean BFSIs, because I recognize that, we saw some people at top banking actually join this webinar. So we know that these are processes that you run every time. These are processes that, you just do. So what you can automate your KYC and compliance workflows, your document collection, verification checks, audit trail generation, automated end-to-end, everything will just be automated. You can also reduce your processing time from days. When I'm talking about days, 5 days, 6 days, you can reduce all of that to 1 hour. Because of the time, I can't show you that, but you can literally cut down time. Then also credit and loan processing, you can trigger base status reports, document requests, all of that, customer onboarding or internal operations and reporting. So if you'd like to hear more about this, you can just send us a mail so we can walk you through it. So I don't want to really give so much about this. I'll leave this for Deborah to talk about. And lastly, let me cut through this. Okay. So, like I said, right, we have people among us. So if you know, I've mentioned Deborah, the same thing with Moses, right? We have people among us that they've been in this field for a very long time. And when I'm talking about in this field for a very long time, they are experienced people. I'm talking about 5 years, 10 years, or, they've just built, they've shipped. They're not just sitting there around and saying, what's even AI? It's not just Claude and everything. These people understand what automation is. They've used it to solve problems already. So we have Deborah and we also have Moses. You'll be meeting them very soon. Then Deborah will be talking about our journey into from manual roles to data-driven automation systems. She'll also be talking about how modern teams are shifting from tool usage to system-driven execution. Then she's walking us through a simple framework for turning data into automated decisions, and also showing us a practical example of how teams can automate their lead management. Then for Moses will be talking about his journey in AI, how AI and automation are transforming modern organizations, tools and frameworks that you can use, and broader societal business impact for your business or for your company, right? So this is the force that we have in the room right now. So I just want you to clap, just clap if you can, just react and clap for the speakers, because it's going to be a power-packed day. I mean, you're not leaving this webinar today not knowing what automation is, not knowing deep inside about AI, right? So lastly, we have, and these people are builders. So you can see I have Toby. So Oluwatobiloba Oshiwosu is the vice president and the front-end lead for Riven Technology. So all the products that you're seeing here, everything has gone through him. I mean, he has, this is day one, like years actually building with us. And they're not just coming here to ramble on, they're coming to show us, to answer our questions. Like if you have any question right now, it's going to get to that section where you can ask any question. Then we also have Cynthia. Cynthia is a product manager for Flowmono Automate. And sometimes I know that I work in this company, right? Flowmono. I'm always in awe when I see tech people like this building such a strong product. I mean, we're competing globally with anything, with other people, and still we decided to have that boldness to say, do you know what? Africans, like, we have the talent, we have the infrastructure, we can actually build this. And these people, they've taken that step to be bold enough to build this product. So you're going to meet them later on, also Deborah and Moses. And overall, you're going to have a good day today. So that will come to, okay, that's the end of what I have to say. And I hope that you really learn a lot from this. Thank you. Again, over to you.
Awesome. That was really fast. Thank you so much, guys. Again, confirm that you can hear me. Okay. All right. So we have about 61 people here in the room. Amazing number. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. Again, if you know that there's somebody here you want to be part of this, friend, enemy, frenemy, get them on board, send them the link, and because they are going to be learning, they will appreciate you for it. So without further ado, we're going to head over to the first session, which will be taken by Deborah Turang. In her session, she's going to walk us through her journey into data automation and operational systems. She's going to let us know how AI and automation are reshaping how modern teams work. Then she will reveal the tools and frameworks behind efficient, scalable systems. And most importantly, she's going to also share what these shifts means for businesses and for you as well. So please get your writing materials, get your jotter, and please, again, make sure you are not distracted, because the most important thing, again, for this session is that by the end of this, you have at least one step you take from now that will completely change how you go about doing work at your company or even personally as well. So I'm going to hand over the virtual lecture now to you, Deborah. Deborah, over to you. The floor is yours.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I apologize for my bad internet. MTN has been doing the most. So please, if you can hear me, just signify. My internet has been acting up and I don't know why. And if you cannot hear me, if you cannot hear me, please call my attention so we don't miss out on anything. I apologize for my bad internet. MTN has been doing the most. So yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's such a wonderful honor to be here. I am grateful. Tosin, you've been very, very active with the emails. Thank you very much. I give you a thumbs up with that. Before I even proceed, before I talk about my journey or any other thing, I would like to say one or two things about automation that people do not really understand. They see automation as just tools. What I mean by tools, like Excel, SQL, if you're a data analyst, you know SQL, Power BI, and the rest. They just see it as basic tool. But from my own perspective, I see automation as an infrastructure, like a system you build to help your business scale faster, to help you generate rapid revenue, to just stop repetitive tasks. So I see it as a system that every single company has to integrate to help them grow. I don't know if everybody's getting what I'm trying to say, right? Yeah, so I know I have 20 minutes, so I'm going to make this thing very short and quick. So let's move to my journey. I did not learn anything in regards to tech in school. After school, I learned data analysis. And then I was fortunate to land like a remote job with an agency in the UK. That was where my journey to automation started. Now, one of my major roles in that place was to scrape data sets from YouTube and generate insight from it. And if you've written code on Python, you know how difficult and how tasking it can be. Imagine you have to go through that process every now and then, like every time you have to generate insight for a client. So that was my day in, day out activity. I was fed up. I was tired. And I had to come up with a way to schedule the posts, schedule the code to help me not to like edit, rewrite, do some other thing. I just wanted something that would come in and go out, so I can just focus on generating insights for the clients. That was where I started doing my research and I heard something about automation. Mind you, I have never heard anybody as at that time talk about automation to my hearing. I have never heard. So I did my research and I was like, okay, if there's a way around this thing to ensure that I don't have to write code. If you know how to write Python code, you know how difficult it is. So if I don't have to write code and I can scrape this data using an application, why can't I just focus directly on generating the insights for these clients? And that was when my automation process started. So it started from writing code to process data to automating workflow to ensure that I have like a clean data set, I have insights, and I don't have to worry about repeating the same thing all over and all over again. Now, talking about this was a big shift in the agency. When I introduced that, it was a big shift in the agency because people started looking into how to ensure that their workflow is simple, it's easy. They don't have to go ahead and do the same thing. Instead, they focus on generating revenue, focusing on how they can make more money than doing repetitive things that they get to do every day. Now, the reason why I said the shift in the industry, it brings me now to my next topic, the shift in organization. If you compare what we have now to what we used to have before, it's totally different. Like Fabian said, he said something about if you leave the internet or you leave this tech space for like 1 month, you will come back to a very, very different new thing. And that if you leave it for one day, you will come back to a very different thing completely, entirely. So modern industry these days, I would say that what changed was the speed in execution. Unlike before that you have to wait to receive an email for the next process, even signing up to an app, you are getting an email immediately. You see, the speed in executing tasks is what changed in the industry. People no longer have to wait for a sales rep or a representative of that particular company to get in touch with them. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? Please, if you are not hearing me, call my attention back to it so I can repeat myself. Or maybe if my internet is acting up, let me know. Are we all together?
You're good. You're good.
All right.
You can hear you.
So basically, that is what's changed in the industry. The rate at which things get to move very fast. So if you are not moving fast with it, trust me, you are lacking behind. People are looking for ways to simplify their tasks. They are looking for ways to make sure that this thing is very simple and easy. We don't want to waste our time on this thing. Unlike before, back then, that if you go to, let's say you go to the hospital and you want to get your next appointment ready, they'll have to tell you, okay, let me look into this, that I'm going to send you when your next appointment is coming up. But right now, as you're ending your first into the next one, please, are we together? If we're together, please, can I get a thumbs up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So now my framework, how I work personally, this might not apply to everybody. My framework, how I look at it is data, insights, decision, automation, and revenue. That is how I work. That is how automation. So for every automation you see, it begins with data. If you don't have data, you cannot automate a workflow. So the data could come in form of lead, it could come in form of customers' behavior, it could come in form of the HR department, like structuring the workflow, the clock in and clock out of work. It can come in any form. So the data is the first thing in my framework. The next thing I'm looking at, as the data comes in, what kind of message is coming along with the data? So it could be they're getting a new sign up to an app, a new sign up to an app. It can be somebody clocking into work. That is the insights. That is how I see my insights. So after getting the data, what is the reason for the data? It can be somebody placing an order for a particular product. So that is how I see my insights. Now, after seeing my insights, what is the next thing? The decision. I have to make a decision. That particular insight. Am I replying to that person? That my internet, I can see my acting up. Oh, Jesus. Please, are we together? Yeah. So I don't know. My internet has been acting up. So after I get my insights, which is maybe if they want to sign into an app, or I'm getting a customer's order, or I am anything that comes with the data, right? The next thing I'm moving into is the decision. So after signing into an app, and let's say, for instance, somebody sign into Fabian's app, and they don't know how to use the interface of the app. And Fabian does not have like a mail ready down to send to that particular customer. Let me use the word customer. Let me not use the word lead so that I will not confuse a lot of people. To that particular customer, teaching the customer how to go with the interface of the app. We should all know that our attention time span is very short. So if I am not getting the value of what I want from this app, I am moving to the next app that is very similar to what they have to offer me. So now, this is where decision comes in. Once the person signs into the app, the next thing that follows is a welcome email to either register and then know how to use the app to get the paid version or the free version. Imagine that there is no automation controlling that. So I have to wait for Tosin to come to the office the next day and type signing into an app every day. 100 of people signing into an app every day. How are you going to do it? So once your data comes in, you have the insights. The next thing you're moving is your decision from the insight. So if the insight says a customer places an order for cookies, the next thing you know that, okay, it's cookies that the customer is placing an order for. You have to schedule an email specifically for cookies to let the person know that your cookies is on the way. This is where automation falls in. So if you can automate a structure like this, the next thing after automating your workflow is to think of the money, the revenue that comes at the end of the workflow. So your team will focus more on either getting more customers to come to the company to come to the company and sign up, or to get more customers to buy your products, and then work towards predicting the revenue that the company can actually generate from that particular data. Let's say monthly prediction, weekly prediction, within 6 months, by yearly prediction, and all of that. If you have this structure in place, trust me, you have solved 80% of your company's problem. And you as the team, you people in the team that worked on this automation, you are actually doing something good. And automation is something that has come to stay. That's how I see it. It has definitely come to stay. It is not going anywhere, because who is going to do all those manual work? I don't think I am ready to face or to go through that process again. Do you understand? Now, let me give an example of one of the projects I recently worked for a client that was quite interesting. Now, they have like let me not go into details, but it's like an investment company where somebody actually signs in to the app, brings their company into the app to invest a particular amount of money. Now, because of the size of the company, let's say Tosin has like 50 people working for her, Fabian has like 100 people working for him, and they want to invest their money into my company. So I built an automation that if Tosin is signing into the app, I am going to assign Tobiloba because he's the sales rep that can attend to 50-man workflow. So I have an automation that has actually recorded or that have actually built the score that if anybody that is registering that under my company has 50-man workflow, 50-man people working for them, Tobiloba is going to attend to them. And then in the Slack, Tobiloba will know that he has gotten a new lead. Do you understand my point? All these things now, nobody has to focus on manual effort. There is a structure, there is a system that has been built to cover it. If Tobiloba gets the message in Slack, the next thing he has to do is to follow up with the clients so that they will not lose that lead. Because by the time he goes to bed and comes back the next day and he wants to start composing an email to tell the lead, oh, and please, I am the one attending to you. I am your representative. How can we move forward? There's a possibility that the clients must have changed his mind. So you don't want to miss that as a business owner. And as a team player, you want to implement something like this to ensure that the work flows easily. So in automation, hope I've not passed my time. Hope I've not passed my time, please. So let me round up real quick. I'm really sorry. Let me round up real quick. So I see automation as a means of not only attending to repetitive tasks, but also as a means of deriving decision that can help the company grow. If there is no decision from the incoming data, the company is going to lose out on a lot of things. So the faster you get to reply a message, the easier and quicker you move forward to the next stage. I hope everybody is clear with my brief explanation to how automation is. I don't want to exceed my time, so that's what I have to say. Thank you very much.
All right, awesome, guys. Can we celebrate? Can we celebrate Deborah in the house? Can we celebrate Deborah? If you're clapping, please clap. If you're clapping, please clap and drop messages in the chat box. Drop messages in the chat box. Let her know that you've learned so much. Guys, what up next to the agenda is, of course, the icebreaker session. I want to know how many things you've been able to pick from Deborah's session. She was, open with us. She shared her journey, told us how she got into this whole thing, and she kept saying something about if you've ever, coded with Python, written code with Python, you know how difficult it is. How many of you can relate to that? I mean, I know that some people can relate to that. So how many how many of us can relate with that? It is difficult, in this day and age, doing manual work. Ogochukwu says data goes to the Kerala is awesome. In terms of I can relate. Okay, it's beautiful to have somebody who can relate with this. Beautiful. Thank you so much, guys, for the energy in the house. The thing about one of the things I'd like to emphasize that she said, automation is not just people think of automation, think about how that it has come to replace manual work. It is not just that. With automation, you can also aid your decision making. With automated processes, it can help you arrive at better decisions. Every system in the world that has changed and that has evolved can be explored and used differently. And automation is not different from that. So we're going to head over to the next thing on the item now, which is our second speaker, Moses. Please, before I talk about Moses, I want you to celebrate him, guys. Let's make him feel loved. If you want to clap. If you want to react to it, so we can begin. So let me just talk about Moses real quick. Okay, so Moses is going to be telling us about his journey, He's going to be telling us about his journey into AI, and most importantly, the tools and framework we need to be able to make the shift as far as AI and automation is concerned. Without further ado, I'm going to hand over the virtual lecture now to Moses. Moses, over to you, please. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, so let me share my screen. Please come screen.
It's coming up. Okay, we can see your screen now.
Okay. All right. So hi everyone. My name is Moses. I am the lead AI engineer at YourPath. I'm also the founder of UniCBT, which is a test prep platform for testing for high school students that are going to university to practice WAEC, JAM, NECO, and post-UTME. And today I'll be talking on how top teams stay ahead with AI and automation in 2026. And basically what we'll be covering for this session would be a brief explanation on my journey in AI. Then we'll look at some of the AI and automation that are transforming organizations. Then we'll look at some of the current tools. We'll look at the tools that were of the past, some of the tools that we use right now, and the approaches that work. And then we'll talk about the societal and the business impacts of AI and automation. So let's get started. So my journey in AI. So my journey in AI really started out of curiosity. So I think I have a similar background with Deborah. I didn't actually study computer science when I was at the university. I studied mechanical engineering. But one thing that has always been consistent with me back then, even up until now, is I loved coding. So even while I was there, I think one of the first programming languages I learned was C++. And it was only after a couple of years that I learned that C++ was really difficult. I remember back then I used to, on my free days, I used to write code. So it was really interesting for me. But when I got out of school, I stopped coding. So back then I used to work in construction. And I remember one time I was fed up with construction. I was like, no, this is not for me. So I said, okay, you know what, let me go and do an MSc and see where that would lead me. So I didn't really see AI as something that I was going to learn. I sort of like stumbled on it. So it was while I was doing my master's at the University of Lagos that we're basically introduced to linear classifiers, non-linear classifiers, and that was where it was like a fire, it was like a candle over my head. So I just went back to my first love, which was coding, and then I stumbled on computer vision. When you speak about AI, most people just think it's a chatbot or it's an NLP or speech. They forget that AI is a very broad topic. It's not just NLP, it's also computer vision as well, the classical stuff, and robotics and a lot of other stuff. So I fell in love with computer vision, and that really led me down a path that was really good back then. Then eventually I went on to I went back to NLP, and some of the things that have really shaped my perspective have been my earlier work, because I have understanding of the like a very broad, I have a very broad understanding of the entire AI system. I'm able to easily know what to use. When I am faced with a problem, I know exactly how to get out of that problem with the tools. And yeah, and also this is one of the reasons why I chose to stay in the engineering side, because I found out that being an engineer gives you a very large edge, because you are able to put yourselves in rooms, and when you're saying most of this technical stuff, people just look at you and like, what are you saying? But you know yourself, and most engineers out there also know you are also saying the right thing as well. So that is a brief of my journey in AI. Now let's dive into why we're here today. So how is AI and automation, and basically how is this thing transforming modern organizations? So we've seen AI move from the experimental stage to the operational stage, where people are now trusting AI enough to include it within key infrastructure. So if you take a look at a while back, like 2 to 3 years ago, because this was really when the AI wave started, even though AI really started the major shifts in 2017 based off of the paper that was released, attention is what you need, which is which explains the transformer architecture. But it was up until I think 2022 when GPT 3.5 came out, where they really introduced something that people hadn't seen before. We understood that based off of the transformer architecture, we now had AI models that could predict, they could have contextual understanding of text and also predict the next token and give us really good information. But it was until they introduced something called reinforcement learning through human feedback within that system that we now had AI that was able to give us useful information. And even as at then, there was a lot of talk about, okay, we are really excited about where AI is right now. but where do you think AI will be in the next couple of years? So there was still some hype. The only way we knew AI was good was, with chatbots, you chat on ChatGPT, on Gemini, or whichever one, and it gives you really good answers. It can be able to give you detailed feedback on on your documents, on your responses, and those kind of things. But now we are seeing people now trusting AI enough to be able to include it within key infrastructure, and this is where automation comes to play. So just like Deborah said, right, writing Python code, some people love to do it. I actually do like writing code, but we are now in a day and age where you don't need to do that, and it makes you able to integrate things a lot faster. So for automation, and if you think about it, right, if you want to actually implement most of these AI things, you need to have a way to automate them together. I believe that the only places in AI that may not be touched with automation are places that will need to be re-engineered. And I'll give an example. Take for instance speech-to-speech systems. So previously, the way that we implemented speech-to-speech systems was through automation. So you needed to combine a speech recognition model, that's ASR. You combine an LLM to reason, and then a text-to-speech model to give you the synthesized speech. Yeah. So even though that was working, right, eventually we had to engineer that problem because there was the issue of latency, the time it takes for you to get to one system to another system. So we had to overhaul that system. So those are the only places that will be taught that may not really need automation. But apart from that, every other place needs automation. Even within the speech-to-speech systems, you still need to connect them to some sort of database so that they can give your customers real-time feedback based off of what you currently have. You also need to connect them to some sort of RAG pipeline as well, so that they can give your customers real-time information on like your company and those kind of things. So automation is really important. It's important for you to understand this. So one key area that I'll be talking about is customer experience. And just like I said about the ChatGPT example, so when ChatGPT came out, it was really about, we're so excited that you can talk to AI now, you can get responses in real time. And people looked at that and said, okay, how do we bring this into the customer service experience? How do we introduce these chatbots and give them knowledge about my organization, what my organization does? How do I give it information on the current catalog that my organization has? If it's a restaurant, how do I give it information on who has booked tables here, and if you can also book a table here as well? So that was really it. So for customer experience, one way that you can do this as it relates to automation is obviously deploying a chatbot that can interact with the customers and speak to them in real time. Also, because now we have access to AI agents. And you can, with these AI agents, you can give them tools. So giving, basically creating a tool that can connect to your database. If you're a restaurant, for instance, connects to your database, it knows the amount of orders that have been made. It knows the foods that you have present in your restaurants that are actually there. It knows, the amount of tables that have been reserved, and the ones that are left, and also obviously, the RAG pipeline as well. But there is still a little bit of hype in the AI space, and the people that know the difference between what is hype and what is reality are the people that actually know the right tools to use. So yeah, and that is what we'll be talking about in the next presentation. So that is the tools, frameworks, and the approaches that currently work. Now, when it comes to automation, so just like Tosin said, Flowmono Automates is one of it's a really good automation tool. There are a couple of others that I will not mention on this call. But apart from that, right, it's not just enough to learn how to connect this and this together. You need to understand the underlying infrastructure, what works best, so that you can know what to use for your use case. But at the end of the day, it depends on the use case. So when it comes to LLM, right, when this whole hype started in 2022/2023, people discovered that you couldn't just take a whole lot of text and throw it into the models. So they had a context length. So context length could be like 200,000 tokens. If you don't know what a token is the numerical representation of text, because computers don't understand text, they understand numbers. So people discovered early on that you couldn't just take a whole textbook and throw it to the model. It would mess up the outputs. So they started thinking of what was the best way, and that relates back to my earlier point of AI hype and reality. So back then there was a hype like, oh, AI can do this, but what will it be able to do in the future? So people experimented with this, and this was when we discovered retrieval augmented generation, where people can now take really large documents. So rather than taking that and throwing that to the model in form of zero-shot prompting, you take that document, cut it into bits, into chunks, save that in a vector DB, and then at the point of employing the model, you can fetch the most similar embeddings and use that information as well. Then after some time, people discovered that this wasn't really, it was really good, but there were some use cases that it wasn't really effective for. And an example of this is if you work in an organization, or you work in a company where you receive information, documents regularly, maybe once in a day or twice in a day or more than that, right? A RAG pipeline might not be your best bet, because if you use a RAG pipeline, you will constantly be constantly be chunking the documents. You constantly need to converting them to embeddings and storing them in the vector DB, which is possible, by the way, using automation pipelines. So you can use automation pipelines to do this, but you also need to look at the cost as well. So one thing that really stood out then was when the old agentic workflow came out, which was really last year. So last year was the year of, I like to call last year, which is 2025, was the year of AI agents. So that last year was when the MCP protocol paper came out from Anthropic. So it was really when people understood that now we're in a day and age where you can now give these AI models tools in the form of function calling, and they can be able to perform things for you. So that really, that really took us from the point of AI hype to reality. Because back then it was like, oh, what will AI be able to do for us in the future? But now it's more like, as far as you can see, because you can now give AI models access to APIs, you can give them access to databases, and the very fact that you can give them access to API means that they can do and undo. And I'll give a brief story on this. So for those of us that are familiar with Cloud Code, if you watch the video on how Cloud Code was actually made, you see that it was actually stumbled upon. It wasn't something like someone just thought about and said, I was going to do this. The people that actually wanted to do something like Cloud Code, they actually failed. I've forgotten the name of the organization, but that was way back in 2024. But for Cloud Code, it was majorly because we now had access to AI models that we could give them tools. So it was basically someone gave an AI model access to his terminal as a tool, and said, could you help me to do this? And the AI model, because he had access to that tool, was able to implement that in a very short time. So that's just one of the tools that I'm talking about. So basically, for every use case, you need to be able to evaluate the right tool and know which ones you make use of. If RAG is the best bet for you, if using an AI agent is the best bet for you, and what kind of agents would you want to make use of? What kind of tools do you want to give your model access to? And this also works in automation as well, because in automation, you're basically connecting different tools together, different pipelines together. So knowing the right one that would work for your use case is really important to be able to build a reliable and a maintainable process. So let's go to the next one. So what is the broader societal and business impacts of AI and AI automation? So it's not a new thing to say that AI is taking lots of people's jobs. AI is taking some specific roles. It's actually now people can say that is actually happening right now. So what people should be looking out for is how can they transition from where they are right now to include AI within their workflows, to include automation within their workflows. So it's not just that AI is taking some basic jobs that in my opinion would have been gone in any case. Jobs like data entry, those ones are jobs that pretty much anyone can do. There's no sort of specialization in those kind of jobs. But even within jobs where there's specialization, like software engineering, we're seeing that AI is also taking a bit of the work. Take, for instance, like I said, software engineering. Previously, people used to brag about the fact that they could, write impressive code. People love coding. Myself, I love coding. But right now, we have tools that can basically take that burden off of you. So as a software engineer, you're no more expected to have that limitation of coding. So basically, that is a case where AI has taken some specific parts within a job, not taking the entire job itself. So for someone who is a software engineer that is not making use of AI, that is not trying to transition or seeing how we can transition, right? AI is not going to take his job, right? It's someone that is doing that, someone that is making use of AI that will most likely take his job. So that's just an example. So we need to talk about how people can transition, right, from what they are doing right now to include AI to make them, better engineers, to make them better analysts and better people in general. And we need to be transparent about this. So for enterprise AI, we've seen that most leaders, most business leaders a little bit skeptical about AI because they don't trust AI. They don't trust the output of AI. They don't trust the thinking process that AI model was able to think. They don't know who the AI model serves. And this is if I can give a use case for this, this is if you take a look at the DeepSeek model. The DeepSeek model is impressive in the fact that it was able to meet the benchmarks for, I think back then, ChatGPT 4.5 and also Sonnet 3.5, if I remember correctly. So it was really impressive, but people were afraid of the model. But if you ask yourself the question, like, why were they afraid of the model? Because at the end of the day, these models are just based on probability. They predict the next token and the next token after that. It's majorly because they don't know who the model serves, and that is dependent on the training data. So this is an area where people have to be transparent. We have to build AI in a way that is explainable to people. So even when you're doing automation, right, you're connecting different tools together, it's important that you document that process for your business leaders or for anyone you want to present this to and say, this is the reason why I made use of this tool, and this is potentially what the output could be like. Basically documenting that entire process. So we need to be forward-looking in where AI is heading, and individuals can position themselves to thrive rather than just survive. So just like I said before, right, rather than being afraid of what AI would do, or probably AI was going to take your job, right? AI is not going to take your job, but someone using AI will most definitely take your job. And that is the end of my presentation. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Please, can we celebrate more? That was intense. If there is any word I'd use to describe that session, I would say it was really intense. Two things I want to say real quick from what he said. The last thing he said, AI is not basically here to take your job, but somebody who is using AI will most likely take your job if you refuse, to embrace the world of AI. Another thing he mentioned, which I dropped in the chat box, guys, I'm like snipers from what our speaker said that that I dropped in the chat box. He said the people that know the difference between the hype and reality when it comes to AI and automation are those who know the tools to use. When you know the tools to use, then you'll be able to differentiate whether or not this is hype. Because some people just think that, oh, this AI thing is just about hype, right? It's Gen Z. They think AI is, the Gen Z phenomenon that, young people are just using to catch crews. No, it's actually here to stay, and it is already revolutionizing how people are doing work. So differentiating between the hype and reality comes when you know the tools to use. And speaking of tools to use, Flowmono Automate is one of, now it's not even a tool, it is a lot more than that, and we're going to get to see that in a bit. Cynthia will be coming on board to do a demo to show us what Flowmono Automate looks like and how it works. Who is Cynthia? Basically, I'm just going to run through her profile bio real quick. So Cynthia is the product manager of Flowmono Automate. She spearheads the workflow, the process management platform, driving AI integration and innovation. She believes that behind every product decision, there's a reason. So she's not just going to explain Flowmono Automate, she's going to show you how it works. Ladies and gents, I am really, really excited. I don't know about you, but I mean, I see those of you that are still here, trust me, we see you, we acknowledge you, but more than that, we believe that you're not just here to fill the seats or fill the number. You're here because you truly believe that AI is here, has started changing the game, and you want to learn how the game has changed and how you can probably use Flowmono to meet as well. So Cynthia, if you can hear me, please unmute your mic and take it away. The floor is yours. Okay, I can see somebody's hands up. So if you have a question, please drop it in the chat box. But if you want to say something, we'll have to wait till we get to the Q&A session, which is immediately after now, before we can take what you have to say. Cynthia on board. Let's see.
Yes, I am.
All right.
Vivian, good evening. Good
Okay.
evening, everyone. All right, so just give me a moment to share my screen. All right, I'll be sharing my screen now. You can please confirm when you can see my screen.
Yeah, it's coming up. It's coming up.
Just give me 1 second. I'm not sure how strong my internet is, so maybe somebody else on the call can also confirm if they can see my screen.
It's coming up right now. It is coming up. Okay, we can see your screen. It's up.
All right, thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. Once again, welcome to Flowmono Automate. So I'll be walking us through product demo. For that, I'll just tell us a brief story about the process I want to automate. So where do I start from? Okay. So it's a Monday morning. Fabian walks into the office and is ready for a Monday morning. He has turned off his laptop, but then he realized, oh, my mouse trackpad is not working, or my laptop is not connecting to the internet. Now, instead of sending emails or trying to chase people around, trying to call IT, he just picks up a form on Flowmono to submit the request. So he opens the form, fills up his IT support ticket, and just immediately he clicks on submit, the process starts. So he doesn't have to go around chasing IT. He has submitted and IT has gotten his request, and they go ahead to start processing his issue. So that is the issue we have identified here, and I'll just be walking us through a process I have previously created, just because I don't want to take a lot of time creating the process right here on the call. So I'll walk us through how it was created. So this is our Flowmono designer, right? So this is the process I just told us the story about. And starting here, it starts with a form submission. So for every process, the trigger is usually the first thing that starts the process.
Sorry to cut you. I don't know if it's just me, but just like your screen is static. Have you moved to another page?
Yeah, I'm currently on the designer. Can anybody else see my screen? Dashboard.
Okay, what is currently showing right now is the dashboard.
Okay, so I would can anybody else confirm that? So I know if I stop sharing, I share again.
Okay, so well said is saying you can't even see your screen. So well said, the screen is showing, but I think it's just one part. Okay, we can see. I think it just
I already stopped sharing, so let me share again.
All right.
Okay, I'm sharing again. Can let me know when you can see the design,
All right, it's
and
up
also
now.
let me know. Okay.
It's up now. We can see it. Go ahead.
All right. So, like I was saying, every process starts with a trigger, right? Something has to kickstart the process. Either it is a form submission or an API call or a new request that was received from an external system, or somebody manually goes there to kickstart the process. So for this process, we made use of a form submission. So Fabian doesn't have to manually go into Flowmono to start up a process. He just gets the link to the form, he fills the form, and the process starts to run. So this is the form submission, right? While creating the form, you can copy the link to tests. So this is my designer, by the way. So on this designer, I can design, I can test, and then I can go ahead to deploy. So I don't need another environment to run my tests. I run all my tests here on the designer, and once I am satisfied with the process, then I go ahead to deploy this process. So deploying this process makes it available for use. So in this case, I am just simulating. So like I mentioned, this starts with a form submission trigger, and then it goes ahead to evaluate the data on the form. So this is a logic block that just says, oh, if the issue type contains hardware. So we have on the form, we have categorize the issue type. We have the hardware, software, and then network issue. So I'm saying if the issue type is hardware, then it goes to the hardware support team. If the issue type is software, then it goes to the software support team. If the issue type is network, then it goes to the network team. That was what we did here. So for these tasks, I just assigned them to various people. So for this, it's assigned to me. You can also assign to a team. You can assign to a role, but I just assigned it to a particular person. So when you assign it to a team, everybody on the team gets the task. So it works like a pool. Everybody on the team gets the task, and then anybody in the team that carries out that action completes the task. So that person is automatically responsible for that task. So following that, we also have a logic here that checks the status. By the way, I know some of us that are technical, you can see a JavaScript code written here. So this is not written by me, right? I am not, I don't write code, let me say it that way, but I get to just drag and drop. So I'll show us how this was done. So I just get to drag and drop all the way from my input into this condition, and it automatically evaluates the data. So following the resolution, there is also a field on the form that checks the resolution status. So once it goes to the hardware or software or network team, they get to decide if they can resolve this or not. If it's something they can resolve, they go ahead to check it out. And then once they are done, they go back to the form to change the status to resolved. Once that is done, it sends an email notification. So for this email notification, I made use of a send request block. So so what you can see here is an API, right, that sends email from Flowmono. So you can also make use of Microsoft Outlook. You can make use of Gmail to send your mail. But just to spice things up a bit, I had to make use of this send request. So this is calling an external API to send an email. So here I get to input the subject, the body, and then the person's email. And following that, the person that initiated the task, so in this case now, Fabian that initiated the task, gets another task to confirm that their issue has been resolved. So this is a basic IT resolution process. So I'll run this process on simulation so we can see how the process starts. But to run it on simulation, I get to copy this link. So the link to the form submission, I will just fill up an instance of this form so that the process starts to run. So here I get to input Fabian. So by the way, this form was created on Flowmono Phoenix. Flowmono Phoenix is our form builder application. So to use Flowmono, you don't need to connect to an external form builder application. You can create your forms on Flowmono. You can manage them as well. So just the way you have Google Forms, Microsoft Forms, that you can go ahead to check a list of your responses and all of that, you can do that on Flowmono Phoenix. So I will just select the priority. Then no need for attachment. It has mentioned that this part is for the IT department only, so I don't need to fill that. And then I go ahead to submit. So I started this simulation. So you see that the form already has a submission. So it has completed this task. It has also checked the form to know what kind of issue it is. And for my submission, I selected hardware. and now it has gone to the hardware support team. So for the hardware support team, this task was assigned to me. So I would go into my task manager. So this way I'm able to walk us through the different modules we have on Flowmono. So here I have my task manager. My task manager is where tasks that require human intervention, things that somebody's supposed to do, like somebody's supposed to fill a form, somebody's supposed to approve a document, somebody's supposed to sign a document. So you get to see all of those tasks on the task manager. Besides that, the other tasks, we call them the system tasks, something like this logic. We don't need a human being to do that. So that automatically runs on its own. So you only get to see your manual task here on the task manager. So this is my task manager. I can see the details of the task. There's a brief description here that says I should pick up this issue for resolution. And then I can click on this and it just gives me the form that was previously filled. So this is the details of the form that I had filled. And this is me now as a hardware support engineer. So I would go to Fabian. Oh, Fabian, what's wrong with your laptop? I pick up the laptop, I fix it, then I come back to Flowmono, go to my task manager, and then I mark this as resolved. Then I can just put in a resolution note that says fixed trackpad. My God, what just happened? Sorry, let me open that again. Okay, so this is fixed trackpad. And then I go ahead to approve. All right, so I'll take us back to the designer. All right. So for some reason, this tax did not move on the designer, but I got the tax on my tax manager. So like I mentioned, this is me testing. So I can refresh this and run it again to be sure why I have this issue. So I will just run it again and fill this again. All right, so this time my task got completed. So I can see that the status I selected was resolved and it has gone to check. So it checked and status is resolved. Then it goes ahead to send a notification email to Fabian to notify him that his issue has been resolved. Then it goes ahead to send him another task. So like I mentioned earlier, they get a task to confirm that this resolution was actually done. So once Fabian confirms that, I can confirm that, oh, this process works fine, then I can go ahead to deploy. If the process does not work fine, if I need to make modifications, I can do all of that here and keep on testing. So once I'll just deploy this. So I would deploy this and show us how this process is made use of in real time. So on Flowmono, once you deploy, the process doesn't automatically make itself available, right? We need to approve this just because it is a SaaS platform. We don't want any kind of processes going out to everybody in the organization, right? So somebody has to approve that, oh, this process, okay, actually it meets organization standard. This is what we want. And then they go ahead to approve it. So in this case, any admin or whoever has been assigned to approve this process is able to approve it. So once that is approved, I'll take us to the process portal. Now, here we have the process portal. The process portal holds all processes that have been deployed in my organization. So you can see that I have IT support automation that I just deployed. We have lending process. We have council tests. So this is a test environment. So we have a lot of tests here. So this is the IT support automation that I just deployed. So I still have the URL to the form. So I think this is the form. So I can submit this again. So I'll submit for Cynthia this time. And we'll see how this process runs once I submit this response. So I don't need to manually go ahead to start this process. It just automatically starts to run once I submit a form. So yeah. All right, so this is my monitor. So the monitor on Flowmono just helps you keep track of your process, where it is at a particular point in time. And like I mentioned, I don't need to manually start this process. I just filled this form and the process has started. So this is the process and it's currently on hardware support team because that was what I selected in the form, just like we did previously. So I would also go to my tax manager. I should get the tax for the hardware support team. And I'm also able to complete that request. So we'll see these tags move in real time. So this is detail of what I just filled. And then I'll just go ahead to change the status of this to resolved and approve. So this is approved. I would refresh this page. Okay, so we can see now it has gone to the issue resolution confirmation again, just like we did previously. So just like I mentioned, nobody has to come into Flowmono to do a lot of work. We also have our process, our form portal. So like I mentioned, we have Flowmono Phoenix, which is a form builder application. There we have our form portal. You can either get the link to this form, or you can just go ahead to Flowmono Phoenix form portal, and then you just pick up the form you need to submit the response for. You submit the response to the form. So I just show us what the forms portal looks like, very similar to the process portal. So you can submit a response to the form and it automatically starts this process. So this is the same form. Give that a moment to load. So trying to submit a response to this form, it tells me that this form has an associated automation. And by submitting a response, I acknowledge this and I want to go ahead to kickstart the process. So if I go ahead to continue, it brings up the form for me to fill and I go ahead to fill it. So this is a basic automation that was created using Flowmono Automate, but it can do way beyond what I have shown today. I just needed to create something that would be easy to demonstrate and would not take our time. We have some other tools. If you want as technical enough to write code, we have the code block where you can write JavaScript code. We also have, so let me just open. I'll just create a new process so I can show us all the tools we have. All right, so like I mentioned, every process starts with a trigger, right? So we have 5 different types of trigger here. We have the manual trigger, which means the person has to manually go and initiate this process from the process portal. Then we have external app events where you can kickstart a process from Microsoft Outlook, from Gmail, from Google. Then we have on a schedule for these, maybe you want to schedule your process to run every 3 days, every 5 days, every 1 month. So you can use on a schedule. So once it has gotten to that particular time that the process was scheduled for, the process automatically starts to run. And then we have on form submission, which I just showed. Then we have webhook. So Flowmono gives you an API that you can call once something happens on an external application. So you set up the webhook on that external application. Once you call us, we kickstart the process. So following these triggers, we have some other blocks. So we have the flow blocks. So the flow blocks, what we have here is the conditional logic, the delay, and the navigate to blocks. So the conditional logic also, like I showed in the process, helps you route your process. So if you want it to go based on the condition, you can use the conditional logic block. If you want your process to delay for a particular number of seconds, minutes, hours, you can use the delay block. Then if you want to route your process, say, oh, there's a rejection that happened, and for every rejection, I want this process to go back to the beginning. So you can use the navigate to block to do that. Then we have some of our core blocks. So for these core blocks, we have the code block, like I mentioned, where you can write JavaScript. So for this code block, we have an AI that can help you generate JavaScript code if you're not technical enough. So you just need to prompt the AI and tell it what you want to generate. And from the context from the process, it can give you a sample code, which you can use on your code block. But I mean, you would really need to know what you're looking for to be able to use this. Then we have send file to FTP. So for our FTP, we have you get to configure your FTP servers basically. So you can configure your FTP servers, and then you can send a file, maybe send the forms. If a form was filled, you want to send this information to your FTP server. You can do that using send file to FTP. Send requests basically to call an API, a get API, a post API, whatever kind of APIs. Maybe you have external platforms that the APIs are made available and you want to connect them to Flowmono Automate. So you can use the send request to do that. You can use Flowmono Automate to also read files. So I can upload a document and I want you to read out the entire document, bring out this particular index of the document, or bring out all the details. Maybe I upload a PDF and I just want the text from that PDF because I want to use it in another block. So read file can help you extract all of those information, and then you can pass it into the process. Write to file helps you create documents. So you can create a text file, you can create a HTML and all of that. Write to database helps you insert and update into a database. So if you have your database configured on Flowmono and say you don't want your form information to just sit on Flowmono, you can send this information into your own database. So all you have to do is just configure your database, which currently supports Postgres, SQL, MS SQL. Can't remember all of them, but we currently support about 5 of them. Then we also have the notification block. So the notification block helps you keep track of dates. Say you want to be reminded in a process. You want to be reminded in a process to say, okay, 30 days after this process runs, notify me of so and so. So you can configure your notification message dynamically, and you can configure what kind of notification you want to receive. So we also have the human in the loop blocks. The human in the loop blocks are, just like I mentioned, those tasks you can see on your task manager. So we have the fill form, we have the file upload, we have the document signing, we have navigate to URL in cases where you need to do something in an external URL, but you want Flowmono to also keep track of it. So once that is done in that external URL, you come back to Flowmono to tell us that you're done with it, and then we can continue your process. We also have the approval task that I used in the process. Then we have the connectors. So the connectors are our third-party application, Outlook, Gmail, Google, and the rest of them. So for other tasks, okay, we have process reference. So for process reference, you can use it to reference a process in a process. Say you want to run a sub-process in a very large process. So you can use the process reference block. You can say, okay, if this process gets, after the code runs, the send file to FTP runs, and it gets to the process reference block, I want you to run another process in Flowmono. So that process automatically starts to run while it is still in this process. And you can also decide if you want the process to wait for the mini process to finish running before you continue, or you want the process to just go ahead and continue running. So those are some of the tools we have on Flowmono Automate. It is what we're currently building. We're still building. Every day we are updating. So maybe the interface you see today may not be what you see tomorrow, or the list of blocks you see today may be updated by Monday. So we are actively building, and I hope we can build it you all as well. So thank you. Fabian, I think that's all for me. If there are questions, I think we can take questions.
Yeah, we'll take questions shortly. Guys, please let's make sure to feel all the love and all the energy. Drop your claps, in the chat box. And if you want to react, please react as well. That was an amazing session. I mean, I must confess, there are people who already love the way you presented, the way you spoke and everything. Most importantly, the products Flowmono automate. It is something truly exciting, something truly different, something truly extraordinary, especially because it is coming from this part of the world. Something Tosin said when she was presenting, she said when we built Flowmono, what we had in mind was this fact: work should not wait, work should just flow. And with Flowmono Ultimate, you can see everything happening in real time. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to the most anticipated part of the webinar, the question and answer session. I'm looking forward to this because I know you have questions. Somebody already dropped a fantastic question in the chat box. Let me see, what's his name again? I think that's let me see. Give me a second. Fatima said, why can't you use Flowmono to host the call? That's an amazing question. And when we get to the session, the Q&A session, which we're going to start right about now, we'll get to address it. So to join me on the virtual stage, I'd like to invite. So when I call your names, please, clap. You can drop your claps in the chat box, or you can react as well. So to join me on the virtual stage, 4 people. First of all, let's have our first guest speaker, Deborah Turank. She'll be open to answering your questions as well. Please just clap. Let's celebrate her. React if you can. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Then, of course, we have Moses Dowdo, who will also be open to answering our questions. And then to feature for the first time, you've been seeing his face, but you probably have not heard his voice. Oluwatobiloma Oshimosu. I believe I got the pronunciation of the name right. Welcome to the virtual stage. And of course, we have Cynthia, who would be glad to take your questions with regards to Monotomies. Welcome, guys. Awesome to have you on board. Okay, so if you can hear me, guys, please unmute your mics and just let me know that you can hear me. But guys, if you have a question for these people, please put up your hand. I think well said, as well is probably the first person who would allow us to ask the question, because I'm not sure if it's the male or female, but the person's hand has been up for quite some time. If you want to ask a question, so raise your hand, would allow you to speak, or you can drop your questions in the chat box, and we'll most definitely get to them. We have about 15 minutes for well, about 15 minutes for this session, but we'll go straight into the question that we have for Toby. Toby, how are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Awesome. So I mean, let's start with Flowmono Automate, because we just finished a session on it, right? Um, So I mean, you're the lead front-end engineer here at Flowmono, and you've been on this product for quite some time now. So I'd like to ask this question. I know is going to lead to many other questions. What was it like building Flowmono to me, especially in a space with global players like and what has that journey been like, and how would you describe it?
Uh, Thank you for having me. Hmm. How has the journey been? It's been very unique because seeing everything come from ideation to testing to showing people to iteration and everything. It's been quite unique. It's been quite unique. It's been a process that has allowed me, the team, the company to look at problem solving from different angles. Because when you decide to build something that is not just a workflow engine, but an orchestrator that starts to interface with so many other internal products and also many other external products through the means of connectors, it changes the way you see programming and how you execute it. So it's been interesting.
It's funny how that you're talking about Flowmono automates this way, and for something that seemingly looks complex, you look very, very calm. Okay, speaking of complexities, let's talk about the question that Fatima asked. Fatima was really, really curious question. I was like, when I saw the question, why can't we use Flowmono to host this call? Why is it that we are, doing this call on Teams? I mean, is it doable? Is it possible that Flowmono Automate could have been the host for this particular call?
Okay. Thank you, Fatima. That's a very interesting question. So, here at Flowmono, we are building a suite of products, and Flowmono Automate is not our only product, but it is our orchestration product. So why didn't we use Flowmono Automate to host this? First things first, Flowmono Automate is not a video conferencing application. But when I saw that question, it made me think about this. Okay, how do I introduce Flowmono Automate into all of this? So let's say Flowmono Automate allows you to have things called connectors. Connectors is our gateway to every other application that exists in the world. So as Cynthia said, we are building daily and building daily. We are adding more and more connectors. And that took my mind to what if we had Teams as a connector? Because currently we have Microsoft Outlook as a connector. Part of the things we have with Microsoft Outlook is that, let's say you get an email, you can use that to trigger any other thing you want to do, or you can use the actions in Outlook while in your process. But when you asked that question, I thought about, okay, what if we had a connector with Teams and we said, okay, anytime there is a new call or a meeting or something else, and the meeting ends, let's say we then connect it to do something else to get all the people that joined in the call, then send them an email or follow up with them during, to make a workflow out of it. So that's where my mind went to when that question came up. But for video conferencing, maybe in the nearest future, we'll have something called Flowmono Video or something. So maybe watch out for that. Okay.
All right, awesome. I hope that answers your question, Fatima. Thank you very much. So this next question is to Deborah. So I mean, speaking of tools and everything and applications, Toby just mentioned it. We've seen many companies invest in automation tools and still operate manually 6 months later, right? What is that? What do you think is the real reason, the real thing that is stopping teams from making that shift? And whose responsibility do you think it is to fix that?
All right. Once again, thank you very much for having me. That question is really interesting because I've actually seen a scenario like that before, where I implemented like a structured workflow for them in the company, and after, from my personal experience, I feel like most of these founders or people at the top, right? They don't see automation as part of the system. They just see it as a tool that they need to like work with it. They don't see it as, okay, this application that I have, Flowmono that I have, they don't see it as something that they are supposed to implement into their company to see the future of how the company grows. So I kind of feel like when it comes to automating workflow and why it is disappearing, if you as a founder do not see automation as a core course to invest in your company, you run out of it in a very short period of time. You will not see the value in it. So for the next question where he asks whose role is to ensure that automation keeps like going in the company, to my best knowledge, I feel like you founded the company, right? You know what you want. You want to see the company grow. So the founder should be able to attend to it. And I like one thing I like talking about from the freelancing or the 9 to 5 area. We know how to pitch ourselves to these founders. So if you see an offer like that and you're a founder in this place, if you see an offer like that, please grab it, because it is going to make your company grow fast. Imagine that the people that you have assigned, the admins that you've assigned to do manual tasks, are now working on something else, and you have that manual task automated. You are good to go. So I kind of feel like the founders are the ones that needs to look more into automation. If I've answered your question.
Awesome. Yeah, you absolutely have. It basically flows from the top. It is what the board members, the ICPs, the CEOs, and all of those guys, is what they actually accept that gets to, is what they enforce gets to thrive in the company, whichever company that is. And basically, like I mentioned in passing, right? AI is not just a thing for Gen Zs. Automation is not just an experience that, the Gen Alphas are going to enjoy. It's actually here to stay. And like I said, it is already revolutionizing the way we do work. Trust me, there is so much more you can achieve. And there's a level of productivity you will not be able to unlock until you automate certain processes so that you can focus on the things that really matter. Speaking of that, I'm going to, direct this question to Moses, right? Moses, you talked about AI a lot, in your conversation with us earlier on. And before we get to take on questions, I want you to answer this, real quick. Do I have to know how to code before I use AI? Do I have to learn how to code before I use AI? And when it comes, because people keep talking about using AI, deploying AI, AI is here. Oh, you need to embrace AI. What does that mean in the real sense? Is AI ChatGPT? Is AI Claude? Or AI is, way above that? I mean, the abbreviation is artificial intelligence, right? So, but there's got to be a different layer to it, something practical, something real. Like the 1, 2, 3 steps we can say, okay, these are the, when it comes to AI, these are the things you can do, you can be doing so that it can be said that, oh, you've embraced AI. I don't need to get my question. I know I've asked quite a number of questions in this before. Please help us here. Moses, over to you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Thank you very much for that question. So to answer your question, right, AI is not just ChatGPT, right? AI is a very broad ecosystem that comprises NLP, speech, computer vision, robotics, the classical ML stuff. But it just so happens that the part of AI that has gotten the most attention is NLP. I don't know if, okay, let me look. Yeah. So
for those of us who don't do abbreviations, could you tell us what NLP is?
Yeah. So that's the short answer. So to answer your question again, you don't need to learn how, so you don't need to know how to code to actually make use of AI. It just depends on the use case, on your use case. The first step that I would say is you need to first of all look at what you're currently doing, and you need to look at how AI can be able to optimize that process. So if you're doing something in the regions of customer service, again, as an example, right? You need to look at how you can bring AI into that to be able to optimize that. So it's not just coding. Coding is majorly for developers, people that are actually building these tools. And with AI, we are able to move a lot faster. We're able to, people are calling us now the 10x engineers, people that can include AI into their processes, can now build applications a lot faster. For people that are not developers, for the everyday fellow, for the person that is working as an assistant or a technical assistant, or someone that is working as a designer, right? It's about thinking of how can you make use of this technology? How can you bring this technology into your workflow and make it a lot better? So that is pretty much it. And it depends on what you're doing, but it's not just ChatGPT. There are a lot of AI tools out there.
If I'm hearing you correctly, it basically starts with you. So whatever sphere you are, whatever industry you are, whatever your job role is, or whatever your job description is, it starts with asking yourself the question, I mean, okay, in my day-to-day, what are the things I'm doing that I can actually automate? What are the things I'm doing that I do not necessarily have to do, that I can allow artificial intelligence handle, right? What are the things that I don't exactly need to deploy a lot of myself in doing? When you start asking yourself, John Mason said, if you ask the right questions, you will find the right answer. So once you start asking those questions, then the potential for you to land on a tool that will basically revolutionize the way you do work is really, really Hi, so amazing, amazing. So I'm going to open the floor now to questions. We have one question here. What from Ebenezer Afolabi, thank you for sending in this question. He says, what can any of the panelists say is their greatest concern in the AI space? Before we take a question about Flowmono, I would like somebody to address this. What would you say is your greatest concern in the AI space? Who wants to take this one? Who wants to take this one? Okay, Moses, you want to take this one? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. So personally speaking, right, I believe the greatest concern to, apart from AI engineers, but to everyone at large, is safety. So previously, when this whole AI wave started with ChatGPT, it was more of you send a prompt, you get an answer, and we sort of understood the way the model did that because because of the way it was trained and because of the reinforcement learning through human feedback process as well. But we've come to a time and an age where this is the agentic AI era, where AI now has access to different tools. So it's able to do things in a different way. It's able to it's able to take actions without asking you. So now it's more of safety for developers, because I'm a developer. For developers, it's really important for us when we are making use of AI within our workflows, because we have lots of ENVs that we don't want to expose. And if you're bringing AI into this, AI now has access to your ENVs. So you can take your ENVs and put them on the internet or something, or send it back to the original creators of the model. So it's really critical. And also because most of us now make use of AI for lots of things, we need to be able to be at the juncture where we tell the model to do this or not to do it. If not, the model will do things that you may not be aware of. And this again brings the question of why people are afraid of DeepSeek. So DeepSeek in itself is not, if you look at the way models are built, there's no reason why you should be afraid of an AI model in that sense, except you add a tool to it. But because most people don't really know the way the model was trained. If you look at the way models are trained, the first step is the pre-training stage, where you throw lots of tokens there, so the model is aware of the context. The next stage is the reinforcement learning stage, and that is where can make or break your model. In that stage, for instance, let me just give a scenario. So in that stage, if someone has malicious intentions, the person can put like an injection prompt there that every time somebody queries you, like you can take data and send it to this API. You won't even know. You just be chatting with the model. The model will go take information as it's responding to you. It's sending you information somewhere. So that is an example. So it's really important for us. For me right now, I think it's safety, because the models are very capable right now. They can do things behind your back. They can have access to most of your credentials, your secrets, most of the things that you don't want to be exposed. So it's really important that building these models, we are aware of that context.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So the biggest concern is safety, and he's truly spoken like a developer. So I think there was a point well said, wait his time. I don't know. Well said. If you still have a question, please let us know. But Toby, I have a question for you, right? And it's about Flowmono Automate, right? So if somebody has been using an automation tool, right, at this point, and the person is considering switching options, and the person is considering every other available tool out there, why should the person seriously consider Flowmono Automate? What is that thing you would say that sets Flowmono Automate apart from every other tool out there?
Thank you for this question. Okay. All right. So for me personally, one of the few things that would make me consider Flowmono Automate, I would say first things first, pricing. Majorly because of all these dollars, naira, pounds, and all of that. But apart from that, I would say the flexibility of bringing in new things. So the way we see Flowmono Automate, we see it as how do I put it? We see growing beyond all of this. We see connecting to everything and everything that you can think of, meaning that it is limited by even one's imagination. We're a company that we're very open to feedback, we're very open to different use cases. And those different use cases, especially even the one that was in the chat right now, allows us to go back as a team and quickly build that. So if I was someone that was outside and I saw that this is a team this is a product, they are just increasing the functionality and they're receiving more feedback. I mean, and it's able to do what I need it to do, and the price is not going to kill me. I think it's something that makes me reconsider it, especially for the fact that they are available and they're willing to, take in that feedback and build on it. Yeah, I think it's a great one.
Awesome, awesome. So with Flowmono Automate, you can achieve a lot more with less. So you don't have to. I mean, for many of the products we have out there, for if you wanna pay for them, you probably have to pay through your teeth, and you probably will not be able to even achieve so much. But with Flowmono Automate, if you get on board, then you can with less you can achieve so much. Thank you so much for delivering such a very very calm answer again. So guys, if you have questions, please let me know. You can raise your hand or you can drop them in the chat. We promise that we'll be done by 6. We have 5 more minutes and we'll try and wrap up as quick as we can. So if you have a question, quickly drop it in the chat box. But we had promised that it was going to be a gift. So guys, there is something we've put together here at Flowmono. It is a package. It's a resource for C-suite executives, right? We put it together for people who are the 1% of the 1%, basically. And we initially it wasn't supposed to be free. It also even wasn't supposed to be put out there. But when we had a conversation, we thought about it and we said, oh, everybody that comes for this webinar, we would like to give you something to say thank you. We would like to give you something that is like a Kickstarter, something that basically takes you from where you are right now. So you've accumulated so much knowledge. What can you do with it? So we put that together and we said, okay, we should give you that resource for free. We should give you that resource for free so that with it, if you still have questions, that resource can be your guide. Where our voices, do not exactly reach and where you've probably forgotten the things that have been said here, that resource can be your guide. And trust me, like I said, it was initially prepared for, C-suite guys and it was not designed to be free. But we're going to be giving it free, but the only condition is that you have to join our community because that's where we're going to share everything. So my co-host is gonna drop the link to our community in the chat box for every one of us to join. So if you want to join the community, the link to the chat box would be in the link to the community would be in the chat box. So you can click that and join, and we would let you know how you would get to access the resource. But trust me when I say it is going to blow your mind. The first time I saw it, really, it took my breath away, and I was like, my goodness, this is a lot, and I hope that by the time you get it, that you'd be able to make the most of it as much as we did here at Flowmono. Amazing. So yeah, in about 3 minutes we're going to wrap up now. I'm going to allow my co-host to come on board and say one or two things. But how many of us have learned? How many of us have learned today? Hope we did not waste your time. Hope we did not waste your time. Hope this conversation has been impactful. If anything, we hope that it has stirred something in you. Because people like I said, people are of the opinion that AI automation is a Gen X phenomenon, it's a Gen Z phenomenon. But trust me when I say it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that. So okay, the link to join the community. Okay, somebody's raising up his hand. Okay. I'll allow what's his name? Okay, Nwala. Oh, I don't sorry. Nana, sorry, please pardon me.
And I
Pardon
was
me.
surprised though.
Please go
Anyway,
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, thank you very much for the session. It was really insightful. I really appreciate it. And although there was some part I didn't hear because of network of some few
Oh,
minutes,
sorry about
but
that. Yeah.
I'm happy I got to attend this session. So I want to ask, um, as someone who I would say I'm just like dibble dabbling in this AI thing, automation. I was able to relate to the demo. Thank you very much. That was really helpful. It reminded me of some of the things I was already doing. So I think this question will be more directed to Moses, but any other person with any other like answer I would appreciate their response. So as someone who not only just wants to two in their own organization in terms of automating tasks. If you want to become like a full-fledged, maybe AI engineer or AI automation specialist, or maybe any career path that involves making use of AI and like AI tools, like what's the career path? What would you recommend? How would you advise someone maybe starting up? I was happy I was able to relate to a few of the concepts you mentioned, NLPs, RAG, and LLMs and the likes. So is there any advice you would give someone who is like trying to, I would say, build in that space and be like a professional when it comes to AI automation, maybe AI agents as well?
Okay, Moses, if you can hear us, I think he's frozen for a bit. Moses, if you can hear us, please go right ahead. But whilst we are waiting for Moses,
Hello,
you
can
know,
you hear
to
me?
come. Okay, we can hear you now.
Yeah, so sorry, my
Okay.
network, my
Yes.
Wi-Fi
Moses, please try and keep your answer short so that we can release these guys.
Sure. Yeah, so I heard
Okay.
if you want to become an AI engineer, what are the tools that you need to learn? So so basically it depends. It depends on how deep you want to go, because AI is it's like a rabbit hole. How deep you want to understand. Like I said before, it's a really wide field. So you might want to narrow it down to where exactly you want to work in. If you want to work in NLP, that is what is currently in vogue, then you want to look at what was the underlying infrastructure that brought this wave. So that is the transform architecture. And that is based on the paper. Attention is all you need. So you need to read lots of papers. Once you understand the transform architecture, you understand the way the models work, you understand the way they are trained. Then from there, you can now move to the more advanced stuff. So the way I like to put it is, there's been lots of work that have been done in the past. So you need to play a catch-up game. So you need to catch up with what has been done in the past and come to today. Then, every day that we exist in this world, something new comes out. If there's a new paper, there's something new. So that's basically what you need to do. As regards tools that you need to learn, obviously, as an AI engineer, there are a couple of things that you must know. They're like things that you have to know. First one is you need to have some understanding of Python. Even though we now have tools that help us to code, if you don't understand, the basics, right, you would be stuck building applications that don't scale. So people can now write code, right? But the people that can actually make use of this for production use cases are people that understand the underlying infrastructure. They're able to build write code applications that will work for 1 million people. If not, you'll be stuck with building applications that only work as demos. So after that, there are a couple of frameworks that you must know. An example is Hugging Face. Hugging Face is where most of the AI models are. So you need to know how to pull models from there and hopefully also contribute your own quota as well to the community. Apart from that, you need to understand APIs. You need to understand how APIs work, and this also cuts across automation as well. So in automation, you need to understand when you're connecting different tools together. This is a post request, this is a get request, this is a WebSocket. So you need to understand APIs in general. And one framework in Python that you can use for that is Fast API. So that is like a brief overview, but there are a couple of other things that you need to do. But basically, you need to play a catch-up game, catch up with what we already have right now, the state of the art, and then you need to constantly stay in fashion by learning new stuff every day.
Thank you so much for that, Moses. I know if you leave Moses has so much to share. I love your energy. So another thing I can add is that there is this thing that there's something beautiful about being in a community where you have people who are where you want to be and people you can learn from, and that is why the Flowmono community also exists. So if you're not in the community, you might want to join, because then you'll be able to have access to Moses and also other people you can learn from. There would be talking about these things a lot more, and then who knows, you can pick up one or two things that would help your journey. Thank you so much, guys, for being patient with us. I can see that a lot of you are still here. In 2 minutes, we're going to wrap up. I'm just going to hand over to my host now to talk about something before we wrap up. Tosin, over to you.
Wow. I am mind blown. Okay, hi, sorry. I must say, this webinar even enlightened me myself, and I'm so glad that we held this, because at least you can leave the room knowing something about AI, something about automation. So just to speak a little more on the community, right? So the main reason why we hosted this is to show people how to use the platform, because we want to run a challenge where you're to spot a pattern or solve a problem. It could be anything at all, and then you run with it, like you build a workflow with it, and then you tag us to it, or you post it somewhere. I mean, we'll share further details regarding this, right? But we held this webinar so you can at least know how it works. And if you have any question, you can ask us, and then we'll answer your question. If you still need us to walk you through it, we can walk you through it. And this challenge obviously will come with monetary gift as well, to come with maybe a lot of things, packages, literally. So if you've not joined the community yet, I implore you to join the community. And aside that, we are going to also be onboarding people we call Flowmono champions, actually. So these people, just 5 actually. So these people will be taught, like their hands will be held, and then we'll teach them how to use Flowmono, how to work with it, how to automate different things with it. And in the long run, if we have the clients or any company that needs like an automation engineer, these people are going to be picked. So anything we need concerning automation, you'll be picked first. You'll also be given a lot of packages and a lot of things. So if you've not joined the community, please click on the link in the chat box and join. And I can't wait to have you guys there. I'm waiting basically, so just start joining. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Really appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much again for your time. Thank you for the questions those of you that asked. I'd like to also extend our warmest appreciation to Deborah Turank. Deborah, thank you so much. MTN tried their best, but they could not stop you. Thank you, Moses. Thank you so much for like a wealth of wisdom. Thank you, Toby. We're really glad. I mean, the level of calm that Toby exudes when he's explaining these things. Thank you, Cynthia, for the demo session. Thank you so much for everyone who participated. Ugochukwu, you were really active from the beginning. Nana, you amazing question you got to ask. Fatima as well. Ebenezer, Philip, I also saw you in the chat. Thank you so much to everyone who made this a success. Okay, so if you want to, my co-host just said something. If you want to join, okay, if you want to be a Flowmono champion, kindly join the community. Okay, the link is in the chat. You can send us a message, or you can also, once you join the community, if you want to be a Flowmono champion, please send us a message. You'll be able to see, you see my number, you see Tosin's number there as well. By Flowmono champion, we mean you want to be an ambassador, you want to, spread the word about Flowmono out there. Trust me, there's so much to look forward to if you become a Flowmono ambassador. So the best way to close off an amazing session like this is to go over the AI creed again. Who is excited about the AI creed? Who wants to go over that again? Who's excited about the AI creed? Okay, so we're going to take it one more time. Let me quickly share my screen. And once we recite that together, we would call this a wrap. We'll call this a wrap. So let me just quickly share my screen. Just let me know when you see my screen. Can you see my screen now? Yeah. All right, awesome. All right, so let's go over the AI creed together. It's coming up. So please, like we did when we started, place your right hand on your chest and let us go over this like soldiers. AI is not here for my job. It is here for my excuses. AI will not replace me, so there is no need to fear. AI is a necessary advancement of the future. And because it is here to stay, I will learn, I will adapt, I will lead. I will not wait to be disrupted. I will be the disruption. I will not watch the future happen. I will build it. This is not the end of human potential. This is its next chapter, and I am in it. Put your name there, and I, Vivian Collins, I'm in it. Put your name there. Awesome. This is the AI era, and I am ready. Guys, thank you so much. Unmute your mics, unmute your mic, guys. I want to be able to hear your voice.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
I just feel here. Everybody, thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Paul.
again.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Session. Thank you.
So much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So for Deborah Moses, who meet on the back.
Thank you so much. Bye.